Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Liverpool podcast brought to you by the Global Sports Podcast Network. Everton 2, Liverpool 2 in the final derby game at Goodison Park. The most dramatic end to this game. Everton went ahead with Beto after 11 minutes. Liverpool equalised 5 minutes later through McAllister. Salah looks to have won it on around about 73 minutes. But in the 98th minute, Tarkowski, Everton's centre-back, levels it for Everton and cue absolute bedlam and pandemonium. I've got Tom, Goward and Adarsh Ramchurn with steam coming out of their ears. Fellas, what an evening of football. Adarsh, I'm going to start with you. Just I don't know where to start. I'm going to take my cue from you.
Oh gosh, yeah, I don't even know where to start as well. My voice, I don't know if you can tell, my voice is gone. Me and my brother have been screaming at the TV for 90 minutes. Yeah, there's just so much to unpack. I think I was set. I thought when it got, I can't even put words into a sentence. I think I was set on us winning from like the 96th minute. I thought, okay, that after that we've done. That's why I'm annoyed, because I was not in the mode of we would drop points. I thought the referee would blow the whistle. He didn't blow the whistle. They had one last chance, and then they celebrated like they won the Champions League. I know it's the last Goodison Derby, Merseyside Derby, but they honestly, I think they celebrated like that when they survived relegation, like the last day of the season. This as well. It's just like we've won so many trophies. I've never seen Anfield go as crazy as that, and yeah, that got on my nerves. And then the whole Decore Jones and Slot getting a red card. I don't even like the referee. Just yeah, there's just so much to get into, and I know we'll get into it, but
we will. Tom, obviously, we'll go into the the meat and bones of this game and the performance. But in terms of the actual result, what do you think this does for Liverpool's title bid?
I mean, we're 7 points clear. That was our game in hand, right? Like, I think
no more game in hand.
No more game in hand, but we're 7 points clear. Arsenal still got to come to Anfield. We play City in a couple of weeks. We've got a League Cup final to look forward to as well. So as annoying as it is conceding a last minute equaliser, normally the roles are reversed. Normally I'm the annoyed one, and you two are quite calm. But I'm going to play the calm one and be like, it's not all bad. We haven't lost. All right, we dropped 2 points at the last minute, but we haven't lost. There's still good things to look forward to. Like I say, Arsenal still got to come to Anfield. You'd like to think we should win that, especially with the news of they've basically got no more forwards anymore, depending how long that lasts. So, but what a great game of football for a neutral. But I think we're absolutely fine. Like I say, 7 points clear. We've got Wolves at the weekend. You'd like to think again we win that, get the confidence back, and we'll just go from there. Really.
I think the only concern for me, look, before the game, if you'd said, look, you're going to get a point, this game is going to be a draw, then, you'd take it. You'd probably think, all right, we should still beat Everton, but, a point at Goodison Park, the atmosphere being what it is on a normal derby day occasion. And then, you just kind of multiply that by 100 with the last ever derby at Goodison Park. Then you'd say, you know what, a point is not the end of the world. It's actually a decent result. But football isn't about the kind of cold statistics of we've got a point. It's about the emotion as well, right? And I just think that if you looked at the Liverpool players at the end of that game, it's like they'd lost the game. Right? I'm sure the majority. Well, I'm going to say it. All Liverpool supporters will feel that way. Is that it feels like a defeat? Yes, in the cold light of day, maybe tomorrow morning, before the Wolves game, everyone picks themselves up, think, okay, point is not a bad result. But it feels like a defeat, and I'm just thinking, and then the emotion for Arsenal as well. They go from, we're going to win this game. Liverpool are going to win this game and go 9 points clear. And then all of a sudden you had the elation of an Everton equaliser, and Liverpool now 7 points clear, which is still a healthy lead, but it's not 9 points, Adarsh. So, should we be concerned, or is it still something that we really should navigate through this?
I'm with Tom. I'm not concerned about Liverpool this season. I actually didn't think we played that well. I don't think we created that many chances, if we're being completely honest. But I was saying to my brother during the game, I feel like this is a Liverpool smash and grab. I think Everton are making it a difficult game for us. So I think we'll get a chance, we'll score, and I think we'll nick it. And I think I was just so set on that belief that it's just like the whole end of the game kind of threw me off. I agree with Tom. I think we're still in a healthy position. I mean, if you think about it, it's another tough away game ticked off. We've got Villa next week and City away next week as well. So, I mean, that's kind of, if you were looking at the flip side, those are 2 tough away games. And what could have been 9 points now is 7 points. Those are 2 difficult games for Liverpool to navigate. Can we get through that still 7 points clear? That's a little bit pessimistic. I feel like you guys are seeing like a different side to me. I'm never usually like this pessimistic or down, but
it's a good job Connor Norcott's not here. Otherwise, I think we'd all be jumping off rooftops.
Yeah, I would be going crazy. But I just think, I still, there's a lot of football to be played. It's just, I think the emotion of the derbies kind of just had its impact.
All right, let's get into some of the detail of the game. Starting lineup for the game: Alisson in goal, no surprise there. Bradley, which I think a lot of us predicted, starting at right back, and Robertson at left back. Konate, Van Dijk making up that back four. Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, again, no surprises there. And then Salah, Diaz and Gakpo. Diaz getting the nod ahead of Núñez and Jota, which I think a few of us were surprised with. I thought Diaz has recently been not as effective, in that central position as someone like, let's say, Núñez or Jota. And I was surprised that he gave him the nod, but that was the team that Slot started with. And it looked like Liverpool were trying to kind of, put their foot on the ball and just, kind of lower the temperature in the crowd by just playing possession football, which I think, was the right thing to do. But I do think that sometimes playing that style of football can almost by default means that the intensity sometimes doesn't look as though it's there, which then if you're playing in a derby game and then the other team is really kind of ferocious, then I think sometimes you can get caught out. And we did get caught out. And I thought it was a disappointing goal to concede, Tom. 11 minutes in, I think it was actually Conor Bradley that played Beto onside, because I think the rest of the back four held a pretty tight line. But, even then, I just think it was such a simple ball through that line, that back line. And, it was a comfortable finish.
I don't want to put the blame, but it was probably never a free kick in the first place.
It was a shocking decision.
Yeah.
And we will obviously speak more about Michael Oliver.
Yeah.
I just, and it seems like, did McAllister do something to Michael Oliver in a previous life or something?
Yeah.
Because it felt like, anything that went on in the pitch, he'd just turn around to McAllister. And McAllister always had this kind of look of just bewilderment, like, what are you doing now? But again, it was a nothing challenge, and they get a free kick from it.
I mean, yeah, but regardless, Liverpool should have done better anyway. I feel like we should be dealing with those situations, even if it is a genuine free kick. I thought Konate wasn't. It almost didn't look like they were switched on enough. Konate could have been a bit closer. I don't want to put too much blame, because I thought for the rest of the game Konate played well, but just a cheap Liverpool goal to concede, really, not our style to concede a goal like that. Good finish from Beto, but it's frustrating when it's not a free. When you watch the replay and you've got the commentator saying, and you can see it with your own eyes, and he's just full on dived, and it's just like such a annoying goal to give away. But Liverpool, in their own respect, should have done a lot better defending it. And but like we say, we turned it around pretty well.
But it only took five minutes or so before McAllister, who I thought had a really good game, and it was him who, in his kind of counter press, Everton were looking to counter attack, and he kind of intercepts, and then plays it to Salah. Salah plays a beautiful ball in, and McAllister, great header right into the far corner, and Jordan Pickford, who is not known for having the longest arms, just he just couldn't get anywhere near that ball. But at 1-1, Adarsh, you think, right, this is the platform now, and we'll settle the team down. I think it was important to get that goal, that equaliser, quickly.
Yeah, I think Liverpool's response after going behind was great in terms of getting that quick fire goal. Like you said, McAllister, who I thought was exceptional throughout. Again, I feel like we talk a lot about him and how well he's been doing this season, but he does pop up with some really important goals. I think even in the short time of being at Liverpool, I remember obviously that stunner towards the end of last season. But yeah, I think brilliant header. And then I think we didn't really create that many chances afterwards. I remember Soberslai's shot from the edge of the box, which Pickford pushed away. But I don't think we created that many chances. I think one of the things we didn't do very well, and again, we'll probably talk about it, is kind of, as much as the referee was blowing his whistle every 10 seconds, I think we were kind of a bit naive in terms of making the game a bit disrupted and kind of playing into Everton's hands, and that's where they gained a bit of confidence and momentum. But I think for the rest of the first half, it was just a bit edgy, and then the second half is where it really exploded for me.
Yeah, and I mean, Liverpool, I thought we were okay, and obviously we dominated possession in that first half, but there just wasn't enough cutting edge up front. Tom, what did you see that? What do you think was the reason for that? Was it that the midfield weren't supplying the front players, or the movement? It just seems that Salah looked a bit kind of isolated, and Gakpo was almost kind of anonymous at many stages in that first half.
It felt like at times we were playing with like 9 or 10 players, because you've almost got Gakpo and Diaz not doing anything, and it's almost like, okay, Salah didn't do a lot, but then he pops up with a goal and assist like he does. So you just cannot criticise that man. But the problem is you're playing a left winger who had a few good games at striker up front again, because your two backup strikers, one of them's injury prone and one of them is just not good enough. I mean, that's the problem. Is Gakpo's been great this season on the left wing, and that spot's his now, and obviously Salah is Salah. And you've got these 3 forwards now, strikers, who one's a left winger, one's injured every other game, and one of them is just an awful footballer. I mean, he came on and like Diaz was obviously struggling, and Diaz comes on, and what did he do? Like, you name me, in that 20, 25 minutes he came on. No, he went in for a tackle and injured himself, and was on the floor from trying to, he had a good game against Spurs. I know he didn't score, but I quite like what he did. He set up one of the goals, and he did have a good game. And I actually wanted him to start tonight, because I thought he could cause Everton problems again, doing what he did against Spurs. And he's come on to a sort of a hostile environment. The fans are on, and he's falling over the place. I read today that Saudi obviously put a bid in for him in the January window, but I think that first week of the summer transfer window, he's gone. You cash in that money, if it's 30 million, 70 million, however much they want to just get rid of him, because he is. And there's a few. Sorry, I'm going to go off on one now, but there's a few.
Go ahead, mate.
There's a few players. I think there's a few players in this Liverpool team. All right, we're doing good, and we're in the final, and we're top of the Champions League table, and top of the league. But there's a few players that are just standing out like sore thumbs in the Liverpool team of how bad they are, and we're lucky that we've got world-class players in other positions to get them out of that situation. Salah, for example, like, God knows where he'd be without him this season. Van Dijk at defence, again, clearing up other people's mistakes. The left-back position is our worst position on the pitch. He's brought off a crap Robertson for an even worse Tsimikas, and And that's like, and I don't want to say us because we've dropped points, but they even when we win, they're still bad. It's not like they're bad because we've lost. The midfield, the three in midfield tonight are the best midfield. But as soon as one of them gets injured, it's like our centre backs. As soon as one of them gets injured, we put Endo on, which no disrespect to him, I know he works hard, but he's not at the level of the other three. You bring Curtis Jones on, who bought 2 minutes into coming on tonight, gets booked, and now has got a red card. There's, again, that forward fight. I just think there is some players that are really not good enough for this Liverpool team and are getting away with it because we've got better players in the similar position or around them that are getting them out of trouble. And it's games like tonight that shows where you bring Nunez on, you bring Jota on, and they do nothing. You're just relying on Salah again. I'd love to know where we'd be in the league without Salah's goals and assists, because, I mean, the last two league games, you take away Salah's assist tonight and Salah's goal, the two games against Bournemouth, and the 2 goals against Bournemouth, and that's just the last 2 games in the league. And I think Gakpo's been good, and credit to him, but some of those forwards, I think I read as well this week that Diaz, Nunez, and Jota all might be sold in the summer, potentially. Good, get the money for them, go and splash it on Isak or a world-class striker that will actually get you the 20 goals that you paid for, that you're hoping to get for Nunez by spending whatever they spent on him. I mean, and again, in other positions, the left back is just the worst position on the pitch for us at the
Robertson,
moment.
I thought it was disappointing to see him getting booked for kicking the ball.
Yeah, that got
but
me.
why is he doing that? But why is he doing that? Why is he kicking the ball away? I expect something better from him.
He's not 21 years old. No. Yeah, he's not 21 years old. He is one of the captains in the team. And, you immediately put yourself under pressure. You put your back four under pressure because, one more and you're off. But that second half, I thought that Everton really came out and, they tried to put us under a lot more pressure. I thought Konate, really kind of withstood a lot of the kind of physical pressure that he was under. There was a penalty check on Konate handball. What do you guys think, Adarsh? Would you have been surprised if that was given? I suppose you're not surprised by any refereeing decisions, though, really, are you?
Do you know what? There was a moment because of the way the game was going and how Mike Oliver was refereeing that I was concerned. But yeah, there was no chance they were going to give that. But I don't know if you guys heard Louis' voice now. He thought it was a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty.
No.
But I genuinely wouldn't have been surprised if Mike Oliver had given it because of some of those decisions. I don't know if you saw one of the stats. I think we gave I don't think we gave away all of them, but I think Liverpool had around 20 or 23 fouls given against them. And then Everton at 8. It just doesn't make any sense.
The majority of those, I mean, they were literally ghost tackles. That the player just swipes thin air, and the Everton player goes down. Even the guy that went off, I can't remember his name, and Szoboszlai was being booed for
enjoy
that. Yeah. Right, and he was penalised for that. It was a free kick to Everton. Replays show Everton player kicked the turf. And it's literally right in front of the referee. And I'm not going to go on about refereeing right now. We will come to the refereeing. But, we had a few substitutions. Trent came on for Bradley. Again, Bradley gets booked for an absolutely non-existent. Forget it being a booking. It's not even a foul. But he gets booked, and that immediately then puts him under pressure. We bring Trent on, which did give Liverpool or give Everton something different to think about in terms of obviously the quality of his passing. Trent is cutting more kind of inside infield as opposed to Bradley, who tends to go out wide. And then, Salah scores. He makes it 2-1 on around about 72, 73 minutes. After Nunez and Jones combined, to be fair to them, they came on and combined to kind of make that opportunity. Salah scores, and you just think, that should be it. And from then on, up till about, once we got into stoppage time, it did look like Liverpool were managing the game, really well. And it looked like we should actually go on and win the game. And there's a moment where, correct me if I'm wrong, but Salah is running through the middle of the Everton defence, and he just gets taken down. And it's literally right in front of the referee, Adarsh. And Salah just like collapses on the floor. What is going on here? But at that stage, you just think that Liverpool should hold on.
But that was the one I was, because I don't know what minute that was. It
was 90 minutes.
Was it during stoppage time? And that eats away a few seconds. Then they don't get that drop ball, and then that whole last stoppage time period was just frustrating. And I think I cannot tell you how. Like, I don't get how that's not a foul. 1, 2, like, you can see even the Everton players were like, oh, like, surely that's a foul. They were shocked that it wasn't. It's just like those decisions that really just grind me, because it's like you clearly haven't given Liverpool any decisions during the game, and then just to like make matters worse, like it's a blatant foul. And yeah, I've not had a moment this season where I've like really berated any referee, but Mike Oliver really tested my patience. And I mean, if Slot's getting red cards, that tells you something, doesn't it?
It does. And then, we don't hold on, and obviously there's that huge long VAR check. Do you think there's anything in that Konate foul? There are people saying that should have been given as a foul against Konate. If I'm being honest, I don't think there's enough there. And I'm trying to be as objective as possible here. That if it was the other way round, let's say if it's a Liverpool striker going up, it's both teams are packed in that penalty area. There's going to be some bumping and physical contact, right? Or am I being too objective, Tom? Do you think that was a foul?
No, I think Konate would probably wanted a foul, but like you just said, there's going to be pushing and shoving, and it's Konate. Like, you would expect him to hold his own a bit better there. If it's one of the smaller players, maybe McAllister or someone, then you go, okay, they've just been outdone. But it's Konate, and that ball just bounces. I mean, it's just what is going on. It's not like we didn't have anyone back, but okay, Konate misses it, fine, whatever, foul or not, he's off balance, he's missed the ball. But you've got Van Dijk behind him, you've got Simicast behind him, I think there was another player behind. Like, you've got like that ball has been allowed to bounce in that Everton box far too many times there, and then you've got their centre back, their captain, just lurking back post to just like I mean, it was some finish, but it's just like like you just said, yeah. Go on. I
was going to say, to be fair to Everton, it was absolute scenes at the end.
Yeah.
And you know what? Look, I know that they're going to get trolled. That look, you don't win anything, and you like Adarsh said, right? They're celebrating like they've won the Champions League, but look, they are where they are, right? And so they've got to celebrate, whatever small wins they can get, and scoring a 98th minute goal in the last ever Merseyside Derby to prevent Liverpool from, I think it was 41 all, wasn't it? 41 wins each at Goodison. And so, Liverpool would have had eternal bragging rights over Goodison Park. And also to, put a little bit of a break on Liverpool's title charge. So, you can understand them going absolutely mental. But it did kick off towards the end as well. In terms of, I think it was Decore that went to the away supporters and started giving it to the away supporters, which obviously Curtis Jones, local lad, took real umbrage to. And I've never seen him like that. He was absolutely, he was furious. And in fact, he was being held back by the police. But then, Adarsh, you mentioned Arne Slot as well. Arne Slot gets sent off. And as a straight red card for a manager, what does that mean for a manager if you get a straight red card? Is that a one-match ban?
I think so, but
I think it's one. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is.
So then you'd miss the Wolves
game. Yeah. I mean, there was carnage at full time. I've got Decore. I mean, I just don't know what he's. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I get you've won the game, but I don't know any other team, any other player that goes to the away fans and sort of starts taunting them, regardless of what the game is. So, and just these Everton players, they whenever they play Liverpool, I know it's like obviously the big rivals, but even Beto, I've never seen him have a good game up until today. Like he was playing like prime Drogba, holding off the ball, running in behind, his goal well taken. I've never seen him play like that. Decore as well. Like some of those players, I mean that's why they're near the
Manchester
bottom.
United have been the same this season, right?
Yeah, and that's
They're
why I
not
find
saying
so
nothing, and then they turn up against Liverpool, and they look like they're going to qualify for the Champions League. But look, we're going to go to a very, very short break, and then we're going to come back and absolutely lay into the referee. Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr. Right, Michael Oliver. Tom, you said earlier that about the standard of refereeing, or was it? I think we got a voice note from our colleague Louise over at the Premier League English, and about the consistency of refereeing. And I've got to say that for me, it's not about consistency, because I think that's a false narrative in football, asking for a game which is inherently subjective, right? Unless you're talking about line calls, right? Is the ball over the line? Okay. Or is someone offside? Everything else is subjective. Everything. The Konate incident, right? At the end, there's some referees that might have think, you know what, that's a foul. And there's other referees who are going to think, well, no, actually, no, there's, football is a bit of physical contact. I'm going to let that one go. So I don't buy into this idea that there is a problem with referees being consistent. My issue is just basic competence. It's just basic competence. So when a player, and we see this every single week in the Premier League, and I guarantee you, watch the Premier League this weekend and you'll see this incident I'm about to tell you. Week in, week out, a defender has got the ball. He's running towards his own goal. He's going to fall down. He's going to fall down. He's got the ball at his feet. He's shaping up to shield the ball, okay? And then he'll just fall. And the referees take the easy option. They'll just give a free kick because they think, if I don't give a free kick, the striker's just through on goal. But it's not a foul. It's just not a foul. And you just see this time and time again. McAllister, it was right in front of the referee. And you can see the way in which the player falls. That there's no way that if McAllister had made contact with him in that way, I think he would have broken his leg. And then the Salah one, again, he's in his line of vision. He's literally in his line of vision. And he's taken out. For me, it's just basic competence. And I would say that, I've said it before, I think this is the worst set of referees that we've ever had in the Premier League.
I think VAR has changed the way that a football game is managed. The referees become too reliant on it. Now, I think if it doesn't matter if they make a good or bad decision, 9 out of 10 times VAR is going to get them out of it. 2, I think people forget referees are there to make sure there's no cheating, to make sure the game's played fairly. They have far too much influence on how a game is dictated and finished and what goes on now. I think Mark White, the Dorking manager, came out and said this on a podcast or an interview or something. He said it about fourth officials, about how much they get involved on the sideline to the referee talking in their ear, and then the referee has an impact. Again, and like you said, that if you think it's a Konate foul or not a foul, some refs might give that as a foul, some refs might. So now you're saying that depending on who the person is, determines an outcome of a game, regardless if it's Liverpool or anything. Right, and we've seen some really bad decisions, even with VAR coming. We've seen even some worse decisions than ever. And I think games now are so reliant on the referee giving one team more fouls, less fouls, whatever it may be. But I think people forget that the referees are just there to oversee a game, to make sure there's no cheating, whatever, blah, blah. They have far too much say on how a game is finished now, in terms of giving a foul, like the Salah one at the end, right? That just, how is that? It's not a yellow card. How is that? I just cannot see, right? And I don't know if Mo's given himself, in the past about Mo used to dive a lot and stuff or whatever. I mean, we try and win. And I don't know if that's reputation still rubbing off on the refs in that way or whatever. But that wasn't a dive. That was a clear foul, right? We get a free kick down our end. We keep the ball. We play it into a corner or whatever. We see out that game. We win the game. But because the referee doesn't do that, dictates the game, we then get two players that have clashed heads or whatever happened to those two. So we're down for an extra 2 or 3 minutes, which is, then adds on the time, which goes and scores. And I'm not.
That one I can understand, but there was another instant where I think it was McAllister again.
Yeah, when he poked thing in the eye, when he hit his face.
Yeah, that one.
Now, that is not a head injury.
He stops the game for no reason.
He's not going to be. He's not going to be in hospital tonight. Trust me. Okay, it just caught him in the face. There is no need to stop that game.
But this is what I mean about referees having an impact on the game, because Liverpool could have gone on and scored from that counter, like that attack. Like, you don't know that, but they could have done. But because there's guys being hit in the cheek or wherever he was, and it looks like it hurts more falling to the floor than actually being hit in the face. And it's just like, and because it's at Everton, the fans are not going to, like, if that was at Anfield, right, obviously the crowd would have gone mental. But I think the referee gets away with it more because it's at Everton, so you're not going to get the Everton fans kicking up a fuss. You're just going to get the portion of Liverpool fans in the corner, which is not going to be loud enough to like make the referee go like that. But I think the referee had a shock. I think both linesmen, there was times where, against us and for us, where the ball's gone out and they've given it to the other team. Both us, we've kicked the ball out and they've given it to us, or Everton, or whatever. I think there was a few times, there was one with Gakpo, the ball looked like it gone out for a goal kick. Like, it's just basic things that when VAR, before it wasn't in, referees would have to get that decision right.
I mean,
they just rely on it.
It's basic competency, but I think it's actually worse than them relying on VAR, because what very often happens is that the decision gets lost in this kind of black hole of indecision. So there'll be a decision on field where the referee thinks, "Oh, that might be a foul." You know what? I'm going to let it go, because if it's a foul, VAR will let me know. But VAR says, "Well, actually, it probably is a foul, but it's not a clear and obvious, so I'm going to let it go." And so what you have then are these non-decisions. So I reckon the Salah one is a good example of that, where Michael Oliver is probably thinking, maybe that's a foul, but I'm not going to blow for that and wait for VAR to tell me that, you know what, you've dropped a clanger there. That's a foul. But VAR thinks it's actually not a clear and obvious. And so you get all of these decisions that are falling into this kind of black hole of indecision. And that's why I just think that VAR has fundamentally impacted not just that the way in which decisions are made, but the way in which decisions are not made. And that's not really what VAR was for. But
yeah, I was going to say, sorry, Jesse, but the one other thing that did want to speak about, because it really did bother me during the game, was I just felt he gave a yellow card at every instance. And I feel like the referees, you're kind of told when it's like a derby, don't brandish your cards out too quickly. Because then you lose control of the game. I think he lost control of the game as soon as he started branding out those yellow cards in the first half. I mean, exactly agree with you around Bradley's one. I mean, he could have just had a word with him, but no, he gives him a yellow card. The McAllister one, I mean, yeah, we've already spoken about that, and he's given yellow cards. I can't even keep track of how many yellow cards he was given.
Right, there was the Champions League game the other night between Manchester City and Real Madrid. I think it got to 90 minutes and no one had been booked. And there were some tasty challenges going on in that game, but no one was booked. And I just think that, I'm not saying that there are not poor referees, in Europe, But I do see visibly, I think that our standards have really dropped in England. We used to have the best referees in the world, 10, 15 years ago. But I think the standard is really quite shocking now. But look, we could go on and on and on about referees. Tom, you've got Curtis Jones now red carded, so he misses a game. Arne Slot will not be on the bench for the Wolves game. Are we going to kind of recover from this and just see it as a minor setback? But it just means now that Wolves game, again, we say this almost every week, it does become an important game because it's that reaction, right? Because like I said, we didn't lose, but it feels like we lost. And so we are going to have a really positive reaction without Arne Slot on the bench.
And if we do, I mean, I hope we don't, but if we do drop points to Wolves at the weekend, if it's a draw or we lose or whatever, then you start to go, right, Liverpool lost to Plymouth. They conceded a last-minute goal to Everton in the week. They've dropped points again. And then suddenly the media go, oh, what's going on at Liverpool? And
whole
so
narrative changes.
Yeah. And then that pressure will then suddenly add to Liverpool. I think we'll be all right. I think Wolves is probably a good game to have. I'd be a bit worried if we had a Villa at the weekend.
Yeah.
For example. But I think Wolves is a nice game to sort of Slot misses it, back for Villa game, whatever. But I don't know. I'd like to think we will get. I think we will. I don't think we need to panic or push a panic button or anything. But like I just said, you drop points there. You then go to away to Villa, then away to City, and then you could drop points more there. And then suddenly in your last 5 games, you haven't won. Let's say, for God forbid that it doesn't happen, but let's say we get to City next Sunday, and if we lose that, we haven't won in 5 games, including the FA Cup game. And then you suddenly go, it's a whole different story then.
The other thing that we've got to consider, Adarsh, before we go way ahead to the City game, we just look to the weekend for the Wolves game, is that we play on Sunday.
Yeah, after Arsenal.
Arsenal play on Saturday. So Arsenal, they're playing against Leicester. You've got to, even with Havertz out for the whole season now, you've got to fancy them to go there and have too much for Leicester. That puts them within 4 points now. Suddenly, all of a sudden, there is that Wolves game does become a bigger game. And you can imagine if we go in at half time and it's 0-0, that second half is going to be, it's going to be quite nervous, right? So they're going to have to be really strong mentally. And I think they just need an emphatic win against Wolves on Sunday to get things back on track.
Yeah, I think it's the finest margins in football. If 10 seconds, if that 10 seconds doesn't happen in the game, we're talking about something completely different. We're talking about,
9 points. We're talking about 9 points.
Yeah, we're talking about 9 points. We're talking about going into the weekend, no pressure. And then, I think that's the biggest takeaway I've got. We were so close to a completely different narrative. And like Tom says, next week is a big week. I mean, every week seems like a big week, but
it is.
I think in particular, because if I'm not mistaken, we play Villa and we actually play a game. We went from having played a game less to then having played a game more, because the Villa game we played because we'll be in the Carabao Cup. So that kind of as well puts a bit of pressure. If we don't get a result from there, then we've played a game extra, and that's where I'm having a few question marks. But I think Wolves is a good game, like Tom said. I think we can definitely bounce back and hopefully get back on track, I'd say.
Fine margins as well. I definitely need to lie down now. But thanks to Tom and Adarsh, that's all for today. Give us a follow on your preferred podcast platform so that you get the very latest content when it drops. We are now on YouTube, so you can check us out on the Global Sports Podcast Network YouTube page. Follow us on social media at GSPN Liverpool. You can email us at gspndailyliverpool@gmail.com. Join us again tomorrow as we'll be reviewing the Wolves game on Sunday. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again soon.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.